Yeah, hi, good evening everyone. Am I audible? So been long time. How are you all? Hope everything fine. And hope the revision is going on well. So you must have used this time in between, for benefit of yours by revising, revising the content which we have discussed till now. Okay. So today we are going to start the world history. Okay. One second. So some of you have written the answers for the first 4 questions of world history. Right. See the first question. So with regard to the world history, some of the important topics. Okay, if you want to note down, you can note down while you are writing some of the questions. Some of the important topics are American Revolution, French Revolution, unification of Germany, unification of Italy, then the consequences leading to the World War I, League of Nations, appeasement policy of Britain and France, World War II, United Nations, Cold War. Cold War itself is a very huge topic. So these are some of the important Industrial Revolution, Industrial Revolution. So these are the important topics which you should never miss in the world history. And mostly the questions also will be asked on these questions only, these areas only. And of course, you can add one more important topic, which is sometimes the favorite topic for UPSC. It is called decolonization. So if you cover these topics, any question in any state service examination or UPSC, you will be able to clear it. So these are the important topics in the world history which you should revise and also should make sure that you are well aware of. Okay. So coming to this particular first question, just take a couple of minutes and give the model answer or the framework which we regularly discuss. So this is the question we are talking about. Explain how the foundation of modern world was laid by American and French revolutions. Okay. So the question is asking you both the things. So see the question. It is talking about the foundation of modern world and with the help of American and French revolutions. So you should able to write important aspects of these two revolutions which are going to have an impact on modern world. Okay, take a couple of minutes and give the model answer. Yes, what is the model answer or framework? Okay, contributions of American Revolution, contributions of French Revolution for the modern world, and conclusion. So what will you write as an introduction? So in the world history, the syllabus is pretty straightforward and simple. Okay, all you need to understand is the sequence of events, their importance and their impact. So you should go with this particular approach of cause and effect. Cause and effect. Okay, so what was the cause of this particular event and what was the effect of this particular event? You apply this particular philosophy to all the world history topics and you will do proper justice to any question. So now here the question is, they are asking you in what way these two revolutions have laid the foundation for the modern world. Okay, so introduce with a proper, setting and introduction towards the American Revolution and French Revolution. So you can say that, in 1765, the American Revolution was a pioneer or was a forefront revolution which has created ripples across the world, which was subsequently followed by the French Revolution in 1789. And both these revolutions, though were having the reasons to fight within those countries, but had a profound impact on the subsequent world order and world political systems. So you can say that by introducing this, okay, because the socio-political and economic systems of the world, the social, economic, and political systems of the world have changed forever after these revolutions, and hence they are termed as revolutions and not movements, because the impact created by these two movements or revolutions are so profound that the world has changed forever by getting inspired by these modern revolutions. So in that context, what is the contribution of American Revolution? We all know American Revolution was the first of its kind, and this revolution laid many trend-setting ideas among the world scholars. Okay, the first thing is the Declaration of Independence. They have declared independence from the colonial power called British. Second is the passing of Bill of Rights. In Indian context, they are called as fundamental rights. So this Bill of Rights are the first of its kind in American Revolution, which give the liberty to each and every citizen. Okay, the political liberty to each and every citizen. And then American Revolution made America a constitutional democracy, thus setting the order or setting the stage for many democratic nations to come up. And also many scholars like John Locke, all these people came up during the American Revolution with lot of ideas like the utilitarian approach. So a lot of scholars or the revolutionaries came up with innovative ideas. And the American Revolution also shows for the fact that many individual states came up to the formation of new Federation of United States of America. And apart from that, the principles of capitalism and the advantages of capitalism and how capitalism can improve the growth of a country, all these aspects were part of the American Revolution. So you can elaborately explain all these 6 to 7 important contributions of American Revolution to the modern world. And then come up with the second side heading, which is the French Revolution. So what is the significance of French Revolution? French Revolution is mainly for the civilian rights. French Revolution is mainly for the civilian rights. Okay, it is mainly for the civilian rights. And it was against the lethargic political class and the inequality within the French society. Okay, and it for the first time gave the ideas of liberty, equality, and fraternity, which inspired many nations, including India, which has ensured that these principles are laid in the preamble of the Constitution. And the French Revolution also introduced to the world some of the greatest philosophers, who are the Montesquieu, Voltaire, and the Rousseau. And their preachings and their sayings have become so impactful that the entire world was inspired by these personalities. French Revolution has triggered a series of revolutions in the Europe, including the Italy and Germany, and finally helped in the unification of Italy and Germany. And hence, the impact of these two prominent revolutions, that is the French Revolution and the American Revolution in the context of modern world, is extremely significant, and the modern political system, the economic systems, the social impact on the modern world is significantly present due to the American and French revolutions. So that is the answer. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts with regard to this question? So where are the answers for this question? Who has written? Who in the class who has written these answers? Jitendra, you have written?
Yes, sir.
Is the answer visible? Is your answer visible?
Yes, sir.
A good introduction. Yeah, principles of liberty and democracy. Constitutionalism, yes. Federal form of the government. Promotion of human rights, the Declaration of Rights, yes. French Revolution, contribution to the modern world. Democratization of the society. Good. Ideas of modernity, yes. Secularism. Okay, property. Write about the thinkers.
Yes, sir. I read the
Thinkers. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Decent answer. Good. See the second question. American Revolution was an economic revolt against the mercantilism. An economic revolt against the mercantilism. Substantiate. They are asking you substantiate. So you have to substantiate this particular statement and also write any other dimension if possible. Take 2 minutes and give the model answer. Yeah. So basically, the question is asking you economic revolt against mercantilism. So it is basically one of the reasons. There are other reasons also. So you have to significantly speak about the economic revolt against mercantilism and then give another aspects or another dimension and then close the answer. So you can just introduce this question. You can just introduce this question by giving what is the definition for mercantilism. What is mercantilism, anyone? What do you mean by mercantilism? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Using other country as our import, as our export destination.
Basically using other countries as a main reason for availability of raw material. You can see in the first stage of British India, they have used this mercantilism concept only. Yes. Basically,
yes, sir. I think it is second stage or third stage, right, sir? First stage should be the mutual benefit, and second stage will be the mercantilism, and third stage will be the financial imperialism.
the second stage, sorry. So the
Yes.
second stage is purely using India as a raw material source, taking the raw materials from India, manufacturing the finished goods at their works, and then dumping the finished products into the Indian market. So similar thing. So the basis of mercantilism was the Industrial Revolution. So when there was parallel demand for raw materials, Britishers started using this mercantilism as a weapon against many colonies. So initially they used the same mercantilism concept with America also. So they used to treat America as a hub for raw materials and then dump the manufactured products into American country. Okay. So hence, basically, there were restrictions on American traders. Okay. Because British had to trade extensively with America. the American traders were not allowed to have certain freedom or liberty. Okay, then what happened is the America, which was initially the colony of British, was divided into various fragments, and British have dictated which particular division should grow plantation, which particular division should grow trade, or which particular division should have manufacturing industry, or which particular industry should have an aquatic industry. So the entire USA was broken into many fragments, and each and every fragment what they should do, these Britishers used to decide. Okay, and then these particular policies of British breaking down America into various fragments and deciding what each and every fragment should do. Okay, like each and every colony should do, and then what they should grow, what they should trade, what they should sell. Everything was dictated by British, and this kind of dictation and the colonial mindset by the British was obviously resented by American and American traders. Okay, it was resented by American traders. So American traders, when they have resented all these, then there was a issue between America and British with regard to the colonies. Okay, now the Americans have tried to counter. Okay, because now the American traders have felt that they have lost the policy, they have lost the freedom, they have lost the freedom. Okay, and their economy is now in the hands of British. They have revolted, and one of the major thing, like British has imposed many taxes. Some of the taxes are the sugar tax. Okay, the sugar tax was a very controversial tax during this time. Sugar tax. Okay, so similarly, many taxes British have imposed on the American traders. So this attracted the wrath of the American traders and American society in general. Hence, the one of the reason for the revolt or the American Revolution is the mercantilism policy followed by the British, because American traders and public were excessively burdened because of the taxes, and the British expansion in the Europe and the British Industrial Revolution also was possibly they wanted to finance from the taxes which were imposed on Americans, and hence knowing all these reasons, Americans resented this particular policy, and they have definitely come up against the British. Okay, so that is the economic aspect against the revolt of Americans against the British. While coming to the other aspects, so first part you have substantiated your answer about how the American Revolution is one of the reasons for the mercantilism followed by the British. But what are the other factors? The British did not give enough political and civil rights also. Political and civil rights were also forbidden to many Americans. Okay, and then inhumane conditions of working. Inhumane conditions of working. Okay, and then all these things, okay, all these things together, and then the philosophers. The philosophers. The philosophers. So these are the other factors. Okay, these are the other factors. The philosophers have created awareness. The philosophers have created awareness. So all these factors, apart from the economic policies of the British, are responsible for American Revolution in 1765. And then you have to conclude by saying, definitely this is the important reason. Apart from that, these are the other important reasons. And then conclude. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So see the third question. Okay, I have to see the answer script. Who has written this answer? Raghu, you have written?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 13 colonies. Yes, Trades Act, Industry Act, Navigation Act. Yes. Yes. Good. I am seeing good answers from you guys in world history. So world history is all about writing relevant points. It is not much analytical. Okay, except for that Cold War era where some of the dimensions are analytical. Most of the world history parts are straight to the point. So if you get a question on world history, you should not struggle. You should try to maximize your marks in that particular area. But then you have to remember all these, these are the important aspects. Okay, maybe now you are able to remember, but the same thing you have to reproduce in the examination. You should have written other dimension. Here you have to write side heading, Raghu.
Yes.
You have to give another dimension also. What are the another dimension? Or you can say
I have mixed the
other reasons also. Other reasons you should write. See, such questions are given to confuse you to think in a unilateral way. In conclusion, you have written. Okay, you can see in conclusion you have written. Okay. But in the before conclusion, you have to mention these reasons. Understood?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Come. Okay, next. Latecomer. Latecomer industrial revolution in Japan involved certain factors that were markedly different from what West had experienced. So they are asking you what is the difference between the Western industrial revolution and the Japanese industrial revolution. Yeah. Take a couple of minutes and answer. Yeah. So you can write this question as, some of you have seen they are trying to write in the tabular form. Okay. You want to compare Western and the industrial the revolution in Japan. Okay, because the question is like that. But you can also mention the paragraph way point wise that how the industrial revolution happened in Japan and what are the factors were involved in Japan. You can mention them, and then you can in the last compare that industrial revolution in Japan with that of industrial revolution in the West, and then try to compare or try to contradict what are the differences in the approach. Okay, so we all know that Japan was a latecomer because it started industrial revolution only in 1850s. Before that, it was the industrial revolution was not there, and this industrial revolution is also called as Meiji Revolution. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Because the Meiji was the official ruling dynasty at that point of time. So what was different from that industrial revolution of the West is industrial revolution was by and large driven by the capitalist powers in the West. But significantly different in the Japan was the state was driving the industrial revolution. Okay, so capitalist versus state. This is the first point and the first difference. And secondly, the industrial revolution in Japan was a kind of reverse engineering of what was already invented or discovered during the industrial revolution of the West. So hence, what West achieved over a period of 100 years, Japan could achieve very faster because they had the labor who could work for long hours and for very low wages, and where nationalism was the binding factor for them towards the industrial revolution. So it was like a what you called a ultimate aim for them to become industrialized nation. And in that process, they have slogged and slogged, and in very small time and a very quick time, they became an industrial nation. And then lot of industrial revolution was centralized because the Meiji government was controlling and guiding the industrial revolution. Okay, and unlike the industrial revolution of the West, where there was a clear hierarchy of the capitalist and the common man or the workers, in Japan, industrial revolution was varied or widespread, where you had many rich people, not only few rich people. The outcome of Western revolution, industrial revolution, was the growth of capitalist class who were significantly richer than the working class. But Japanese industrial revolution was more social when compared to Western industrial revolution. And it gave rise to large number of urban class. Japan became significantly urbanized after the industrial revolution. Okay, but then the social orthodoxy of Japan was still there. The women, the inclusiveness of the women in Japan was not so much when compared to the Western industrial revolution. But considering these things, okay, except for some, at the same time, the Japan as a nation grew very fast in just a matter of 30 years and became an extremely industrialized nation. And we all know the famous 1906 war with Russia, where Japan could defeat one of the world powers at that time, Russia, was a very great thing. And also, it went on to defeat China. So the defeat of Russia and China by a small nation called Japan showcases the industrial might of this nation. But one of the very bad outcomes of this particular industrial revolution in Japan was, like any other Western nation, that is excessive nationalism. This gave rise to the imperial attitudes. This excessive nationalism grew in the Japan, which gave rise to the imperial attitudes amongst this particular country, and which in fact became an imperial power in the later half of the 20th century by invading many Southeast countries and including the China. Okay, so this is the particular thing you can write, but then it definitely gave a lot of stress in the society. Okay, and to remove this stress, the leaders have promoted nationalism, and this promotion of nationalism led to the imperial attitudes of the Japanese, and which was seen during the World War II. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
The attendance is very less today. Suman, the class is not informed or what? I'm seeing only 8 participants. Jitendra?
Sir.
Not informed or not interested?
Informed, sir. A lot of students were at home. They were little interested.
Some of them are at home.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who has written the answer now? Soumya, I am seeing online. Soumya, you have written this? She has not written the third question. So if it's quite a few days, you will take a break. Okay. So who has written this answer? Who's there in the class? Indu, Jitendra is there. Jitendra is done. Prashati, Raghuram, Santosh, Soumya, and Sumant. I'm seeing Indu's paper here. Indu paper is there. Yeah, Indu is there. Indu has written third question. No, she has also not written. Okay, we'll do Bhaskar. Bhaskar has done third question. Anyway, Bhaskar, if you are seeing it online later, be happy without attending class. Your answer was evaluated. Right. Major restoration, yes. Scientific discovery and inventions, reverse engineering, good. Yes. Japanese, though poor in the resources, they have got that through machinery. Yes. Yes, it was the commercial revolution before in the Japan. Good. So I am happy with your world history answers actually. So far I have seen Jitendra's answer, Raghu, and now Bhaskar. You're all writing good answers. Hopefully, you're writing without seeing. That is important. You're writing very valid points. Okay. You should write the other dimensions, drawbacks, other dimension, drawbacks, and how this created an imperialistic attitude. Imperialistic attitude, and how this played a role in World War II. This you have to conclude. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
See the last question, probably one of the easiest question, but one of the very favorite questions of UPSC. Every alternate year, this question will come. You can write the answer and see the question then. Such is the importance attached to this question. Why did the Industrial Revolution first occur in England? Discuss the quality of life of the people during the industrialization. How does it compare with that in India at present? Yeah. Take a couple of minutes and answer this question. Last question of the day. Santosh has written. Santosh is there in the class. Okay. Anyhow, Santosh, I'll do your question at the last. Third question. Don't worry. After discussing this question, I'll do the third question of Santosh and fourth question of Soumya. Soumya is there? Yeah, okay. Take 2 minutes. Yeah, anyone? Yeah, you can divide like this. Good, Jitendra. Better to divide the factors for responsible for industrial revolution. Yes, Raghu, good. Both of you have given good framework. Raghu and Jitendra almost same framework. Good. So first, define what is industrial revolution. It is a phase or process where extensive development happened in a very short phase. Okay. And it was mainly driven by the inventions of the 18th century in England. 18th century England, inventions happened and this drove the industrial revolution. So now come to the factors. Number of factors influence the industrial revolution. So either you can mention factors all at one go, or much better way of presentation is further divide the factors into social, economic, political, technological, what we call popularly as felt approach. Social, political, economical, legal or technical. So here there is no legal. So social, political, economical and technological. So what are the social factors? By the time the society was highly developed in England, okay, and then the people were quite educated and they could understand what is the need of the hour. Coming to the political aspects, what is the political aspects? Already Magna Carta was signed in the year 1215 and the political system was quite stable in England and it was driven by the people's choices. Though the king was there, he was very much lending an ear to the people and their feedback. The political system was very conducive and the king was helping the industrialists. And coming to the economic, very important part, the England had very good access to the seaports, very good access to the economic resources, including the natural iron ores. Okay, it had abundance of iron and coal. Okay, and then it had people who could come and work for these industries. And then coming to the technological, already the agricultural revolution was prevailing. Lot of new machines were invented, and the steam engine was also being invented, and lot of technological and machinery aspects were being invented. So all these have led to the concept called industrial revolution. And apart from that, England already had some presence in many colonies where it could get sufficient raw material from. So England traders across the world were ready to send the raw material to England. And all these, and then risk-taking entrepreneurs, loan lending banks, and they had enough markets because at that time there were some colonies in their hands. They had markets where their finished goods could be dumped or sold. So all these are the factors which helped England to be one of the first among the industrial revolution. Of course, during the latter half, we know that entire Europe became industrially revolutionized, but the first one was the England. So the first part of the question is answered. Then discuss the quality of life of the people during the industrialization. So what was the quality of life? So here you try to give both positive aspects as well as negative aspects. What was the positive aspects? There was a lot of employment generation. A new urban class called middle class developed. They could get sufficient wages, quality education. All these were the positives. What were the negatives? Very inhuman conditions, especially for women and children. Long hours of working, probably 18 to 21 hours a day. Exploitation, profits being taken by the capitalists and not shared with the workers. Okay, and also causing a lot of pollution. And the another aspect is the generate and the cause of imperialism. So all these are the drawbacks of the industrialization or the industrial revolution. So that is the second part of the answer. So the third part of the answer is, how does it compare with that of India at present? So what is India at present? How do you compare with India at present? So basically, India at present means after independence, India had a lot of focus on the industrialization, especially the second 5-year plan. We all know that, the second 5-year plan was based on the industrialization. But today, again, India is going through a churn where there is a lot of growth and development with regard to the service sector. Okay, and similar social conditions like of industrial revolution during England are existing in India today with regard to the institutions of family, institutions of marriage. Okay, and also there are issues with regard to the labor laws in India. Okay, and also like in the industrial revolution in the England, today also there is the migration towards the urban areas in search of jobs in industrial areas. The economy is now tilting towards the tertiary sector. Once upon a time, Indian economy was primarily depending on the agriculture, but now the agriculture is no more the significant contributor to the Indian economy as far as the contribution to the GDP is concerned. Yes, as far as the workforce is concerned, even today 50% of the workforce comes from the agricultural background. But as far as the contribution to the GDP is concerned, your manufacturing and service sector are contributing close to 80% today. So that is a radical shift from agriculture economy to the industrial and service oriented economy. And in this process, we are seeing a lot of urbanization happening. This urbanization is leading to issues of urban poor, which was seen during the COVID time. So all these are the issues which are presently pertinent and very much similar to what happened during the Industrial Revolution in England. So on this note, you can conclude saying that since we already have the experience of how the Industrial Revolution can be fast-paced and can create a lasting impact on the lives of people, the need of the hour is to plan a better revolution so that the people and their basic needs are, the way this revolution progresses can be in balance with the people and their progress also. And you can bring in the angle of climate change also. In the conclusion, at one word, you can bring in the concept of climate change. Santosh, have you written the fourth answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll do your fourth answer and I'll do Soumya's fourth answer also. Is it clear? Fourth answer for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Sorry?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So better to divide it as social, economic, and political angles, Santosh. And then you are straight away talking about rise of capitalism. Okay, the rise of capitalism is the outcome of industrial revolution. Clear, Santosh?
Yes, sir.
Reasons can be far better. Reasons you have to write many more. Santosh, you have to write in socio-economic, political, and technological. Okay?
Yeah, okay, sir.
This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. But you have written only negative aspects. Write some positive aspects also. Okay? Of course, the Industrial Revolution had a lot of negative aspects, but write some positive aspects also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and for prohibition of child labor. Yes, what we have learned from Industrial Revolution is very important. Okay, the conclusion can be better. As I told you, conclusion can be better. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Soumya, you're there? Good. Economic factors. This is technological factor, not economic factor. This is good. This is good. So you can write economic factors are much more. Okay. The availability of raw mines, iron ore, steel. Okay. This is a negative now. Why are you combining with this positives? Here you can write positives and negatives. Please have this distribution. Okay, this is better, but have a proper conclusion like we discussed. Okay, fine. Any other doubts for today? So Sumant, ask your friends not to have the inertia. Okay, you people are going to write the exam, so don't have the inertia. Okay, Jitendra, can we?
Definitely, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine.